Hello everyone, welcome to another Geek and Dorks Reviews. I'm John Lorden, and today we're going to be looking into the 2003 documentary Capturing the Friedmans. Now, a lot of the movies that I review are actually suggestions by you. Thank you guys so much for contributing, and if you have suggestions for other, particularly, I'm really looking for like true crime, mysteries, but I'm up for anything. Be sure to drop them in the comments below and I'll check those out, and maybe the film you tell me about will become a Geek and Dorks review in the future. So this one took some getting through, let me just say. Capturing the Friedmans is directed by Andrew Jarecki. You might know him because he's the same director of a great HBO miniseries called The Jinx. And this is an earlier work of his. It was very critically acclaimed, nominated for an Oscar, won many awards at smaller film festivals. But I gotta tell you, my experience with it wasn't all that great. Let me read you the plot line. This is from IMDB. Documentary on the Friedmans, a seemingly typical upper middle class Jewish family whose world is instantly transformed when the father and his youngest son are arrested and charged with shocking and horrible crimes. And let me just state, if you're considering seeing this, there are some big time triggers in it, particularly about pedophilia, very inappropriate things happening to young men, boys, and it was really tough to watch. I really had to kind of gut this one out, and when I got to the end of it, when I was thinking about what I was going to tell all of you, what it is at its basic nature, I got really confused, and that's part of the reason why I'm not really enjoying this documentary a whole lot. I guess if you look at it from a positive perspective, you could say it is a somewhat unbiased view of what happens to a family as it faces the turmoil of the father being charged with some very serious crimes, and also the youngest son, and there's a middle son and an older son. The eldest son has a lot of footage of what's going on within the family. Apparently he had cameras when he was very young. He was always interested in that. But the times when he chooses to kick those cameras on is really, man, I don't know. I mean, like literally the day before his father is going to court, the camera's running in the kitchen. The day before his brother basically goes in to put in his plea, once again the camera is running in the family's house. In one way, I guess from the voyeuristic side of me, it's very interesting to see the family dynamics under those types of pressure. And there was this kind of neat thing at the start of it where the footage there was a lot of nostalgia going on for me because it reminded me of my youth. You know, being a child born in the mid-70s, you see a lot of the fashions and just the way the house was decorated and all that, and that definitely kind of took me back. But ultimately, the biggest problem I have with this movie is, first of all, law enforcement's point of view on what's going on here. They go for overkill when it comes to actually charging these people. And I know that that's kind of a common thing. I see that a lot when I'm looking into documentaries and cases I'm reviewing and things like that. They typically like to throw a lot of charges sometimes, and then they'll kind of weed it down in this bartering system where they're hoping to get some kind of plea bargain deal or something like that. But it leaves a lot to be desired. There's one detective in particular that's interviewed a few times in this case, and they flatly show in the documentary that she is amplifying the story as she's retelling it. She's saying that there was all kinds of pornography all over the house, you could see it everywhere, and then all of a sudden the documentary cuts to pictures of the crime scene, supposedly, you know, taken by the authorities, and there's no pornography in the house. So it's weird to see people that are serving justice. Why do you have to amplify the story like that? It really put this weird spin on their perspective for me. And then there's the perspective of the family, which by the end of this film, I was just so thoroughly, I don't want to say disgusted, but I don't know how else to put it. This is like a family that by the time you get to the end of this movie, you wish that they just never got together. You wish that the father never met the mother and they never had their kids. These are people that they kind of seem like they hate each other. And admittedly, when they're going through something like this and those types of serious charges, there's going to be trials and tribulations, and there's going to be a lot of stress that they have to deal with, and they're going to lash out at each other. But even in the interview segments that aren't in that immediate time frame, you're still seeing like the children talk about how much they hate their mother, and the mother even kind of referring to this family that she just kind of really didn't care about, and a husband that she didn't really seem to have a lot of feelings for. It is bizarre. You watch this family melt down and degrade while facing all of this. And by the end of the film, I just didn't like anyone. It's so weird. I did not like anyone that was involved with this case on either side of the prosecution. There's one attorney that I felt like was giving us an honest view of his perception. He was the attorney for the youngest son that is charged. And he's kind of the only voice that I found that I felt like I could trust in this whole narrative. And that's where I wonder if the director really hit the sweet spot with this film. I don't feel like he did. I feel like it's all over the place. It's a view into the family and how it degrades over the course of time. It's a view into the legal process and the investigation, and kind of just about the mechanics of how that's working against this family. I don't know. I suppose a film like this should be uncomfortable. It's tackling huge issues, bringing them to the forefront. I thought it was done pretty tastefully. It's a very bizarre situation. I don't want to give out too many details because I want you guys to watch it if you want to watch it. But when I do these reviews, I always like to tell you what type of people I think would benefit from watching a film like this. And I don't know. I'm just kind of at a loss. Now, with all that being said, this film rates a 7.8 out of 10, which for IMDb is very, very good. Like I mentioned, Academy Award nominated, awards all over the place. And I feel like maybe I'm the oddball in this situation. Or maybe these types of documentaries have grown significantly since 2003. I can tell you the job that Andrew Jarecki did in The Jinx is phenomenal. And at the end of The Jinx, there's a very significant thing that happens, extremely significant. And some might almost say that the filmmaker kind of helped that situation come about. He actually helped progress this criminal case in The Jinx. In this film, I kept feeling like there was points where he could help the people and he was opting not to. He took a very looking through the lens approach. And the saddest thing about it is that eldest brother who, this isn't really a big spoiler, who just will never admit that there's a possibility, not even a possibility, his father could have done this or did do this. And his youngest brother could have done this or did do this. There is so much denial running all over the family members in this film, which sure, like I said, in the time that it's going on, you're going to have that, but you're interviewing these people years and years and years later, and you're capturing them pretty much stuck in the same spot. And I guess there's a decision you have to make as a filmmaker there. If you're going to try to intervene to get that person some type of help, if you're going to try to have some dialogue with them yourself. I'm a big fan of Catfish. I know, how the hell did we get to Catfish in this? But there's something significant about how Neve and Max work those cases. They honestly try to help the people that they're dealing with on both ends of the spectrum, even the person that's doing the catfishing. And there's something that we as viewers, when we see filmmakers do that, it's not just about their likability, it's about all of us and that show doing something to better this earth. And this film, while true, raising attention to very important issues, for the people that are involved in it, I don't feel like it really helped them. As a matter of fact, some people might say that it could have potentially damaged the eldest son's career. He works as a clown in New York, And he even talks in the film at one point about how he's afraid that this information is going to come out about what his father was or what his father did, and that might damage his clown career. But then he takes all these videotapes and turns them over to a filmmaker to be put on HBO. There was things like that just while I was watching this, they were just nagging me very, very deeply. There's even decisions that the family makes that are supposedly to help other members of the family, and you're shaking your head in disbelief going, how does that help anybody? What are you guys doing? It's like if anything, this is a good example for what you should not do if you're ever faced with a case like this. Like, what is the exact opposite of what a person should do that is faced with charges? I mean, it boggles my mind. My head is just spinning over this film. And it's not in a good way. It's not in that brain scratchy kind of way where it's like, oh wow, there's a mystery and I really don't understand what the result of that is. I can think about this mystery and chew on it or research it more and dive in. No, and it's weird because the tagline for it is, who do you believe? But by the time you get to the end of the movie, you're like, okay, I feel pretty certain I know what happened, and I don't know why everyone else in the film is acting like they don't know, and this is all ridiculous, and it just makes me dislike these people even more. It was crazy. It's weird. It is, I don't know. I know that films like this aren't always ultimately enjoyable, but I feel like I'm able to find things in them that might benefit some aspect of my audience out there. And quite honestly, guys, I just got to tell you, I just don't see it in this one. I don't know who this film helps. If you have seen this film and you have an opinion about that, please, please, please put it in the comments below. I'm looking for more insight into this because, like I said, I feel like the filmmaker did a very passive job, kind of reported the facts as he saw them, but didn't really dig beneath the surface of what people were just saying, just blabbing at the camera. Didn't come to a deeper understanding of the case, didn't come to a deeper understanding of human nature. It just ends pretty much where it begins, with people that are confused and frustrated because they're choosing to be confused and frustrated because they don't want to face the truth. And it's a very frustrating experience for someone that A, seeks the truth, and someone that B, likes to help other people see the truth. Yeah, I don't know. I could definitely not rate this a 7.8 out of 10. I don't think I will ever watch this film again. I think I would give it a 3.5 out of 10. There's not a whole lot here that I could recommend for you to see. There's not a lot of good lessons here. If you want to see a family implode, go ahead and check this out. But outside of that, I really don't know how to recommend this, or even how to kind of make sense out of what this documentary is supposed to be teaching the rest of us. It doesn't feel like a very teachable documentary, I guess, which is very strange. You know what? Your time is definitely well better spent if you check out The Jinx. I highly recommend The Jinx. I've done a review of it before. You can search for in the Geek and Dorks Reviews playlist. It is excellent from top to bottom. You get some serious insight into a family that just has way too much money and a kid that kind of takes a left turn from society. But in this, I don't know. I don't know how I could recommend it. So that's it. I've never had a Geek and Dorks review feel like this before, where I'm kind of telling you guys, I think you should avoid it unless you are severely compelled by the types of charges I'm talking about, or watching a family implode. Those are really the only two things that I could say about it. Or if you're interested in particular in Jared Jarecki and you want to see some of his earlier work and see how he progressed as a filmmaker, because there is such a big difference from his totally hands-off through the lens approach in this film to The Jinx, where he's helping to enact justice, is the way I see it. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you so much for joining me on this Geek and Dorks review. I will catch you on the next show on the Geek and Dorks channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Take care.